Fellas, we men are saddled with a lot of big decisions in our lives. What career to choose, where to live, whether you have kids or how many, but none are as significant as choosing your one true leather jacket. Because in all likelihood, it's the most expensive item of clothing you'll ever buy. Maybe more expensive than your best suit. Like, you can get a very good made-to-measure wool suit for under 900 bucks, but a good leather jacket? When I did my video on the best leather jacket 5 years ago, the one I'm still wearing and paid full price for, mind you, it was 850 bucks, which was not cheap. Today, the Cafe Racer from Schott NYC is $975 on huckberry.com, which is just a little bit cheaper than on Schott's website, actually. And I'll say now what I said then. Schott NYC does make the best leather jackets, and this is an item of clothing that you just can't cheap out on. While I talk about a lot of high quality leather on this channel, my name is Nick, by the way, and Stridewise is about casual, durable menswear, I am not so out of touch that I'll tell you to just get a black one and a brown one. Like, a lot of guys say that when you say which one should you get, but these jackets are not cheap. If you get one, you will almost certainly get one. The good news is there's actually just one real answer. In this video, I'm gonna give you the one most objective way to decide which one is best for you. Then I'm gonna run through the more subjective and sentimental factors that come into play, because the whole heart and mind come into play with this kind of purchase. And the model with which we're going to explore that decision is the one I still think is the best leather jacket, Schott NYC's Cafe Racer. Long story short, for a leather jacket, it is the perfect balance of understated and edgy, also value and quality. This is my old one. This one I borrowed for this video because I didn't want to complicate it by having a bunch of different types of leather jackets, which have slightly different connotations and so on. But I am going to complicate this video with a ton of sample outfits in each, to help you decide what kind of look you like the best. But the most important way to make this decision, it's one question, and it's the same thing I said in my video about choosing black or brown boots, is to go to your wardrobe and look at the colors of your clothes. Some like menswear gurus come up with like a dozen different color palettes to classify and arrange your outfits. I just do two, and these jackets fall pretty neatly into each. Warm colors and cool colors. If you need one takeaway from this video and then you need to dip, it's this. Blue and white matched everything. They're in both palettes. But if most of the other colors you see in your wardrobe are warm and earthy, tan, green, brown, orange, gold, yellow if you wear that, a brown leather jacket will be best. If, on the other hand, most of the non-blue and white colors you see are black and gray, and I throw burgundy and purple-ish colors into the cooler category too, and you know, somehow red works better with black than brown as well. So, you know, it's not the hardest science in the world here, but I think you'd agree with me. If most of your wardrobe sits in that cooler colors category, except red, which is the color of fire, but you know what I mean, then you're better off with a black leather jacket. And that's it. We can all go home.
We can all go home.
Or you can stick around and we can argue a little. That two palettes thing is obviously very simple. Like a green shirt looks great with a black jacket. No one will actually notice or care if you wear a gray shirt under a brown one. But the most useful strategy is mostly warm or mostly cool. And then you can still just wear the leather jacket with everything. Now, to make a generalization that is pretty broad, but also pretty evidence-based, like from my years of working in the kind of the menswear space, if you are a normal dude, and normal dudes don't like to think too much about their clothes, so they tend to just buy a lot of like black, gray, white, and blue. Or if you're a guy who does like to think about his clothes a little bit, and you lean in the directions of modern or maybe streetwear. In other words, if you're most guys in the current year, in my experience, your wardrobe is probably more cool than warm, if there's anything that's not blue and white. I would put money on a black leather jacket being your best bet. If, however, you're a guy who likes to put a little more thought than usual into his wardrobe, or if you maybe like the idea of wearing colors sometimes, or more than the average guy, or if you have a larger wardrobe than most guys, if maybe you've sometimes felt a little bit of fondness for some flavor of classic style, Americana style, preppy, workwear, outdoorsy, vintage, any of those, there's a very good chance that a brown leather jacket is going to be the best option for making your outfits look better. For our final level of complicated, if you want to do a thought experiment with me, or if like your wardrobe is mostly blue and white and neutral, or it's a pretty even split between warm and cool, or if you're in the process of building a wardrobe or deciding on your look, you're like, all right, this is the year I'm going to buy my clothes for the next 5 or 10 years. And so in that sense, you're kind of starting from scratch. And like maybe you're planning to get a lot of your clothes after you've decided on this one core tone setting piece of your wardrobe. Number one, that's a very smart way to go about it. Get the leather jacket first, then work out the rest. Whatever the reason you're still watching, let's help you pick a color from some extra height. I'm going to give you all the rest of the arguments that people make in the black versus brown debate. As a guy with a channel about leather stuff, I know all these arguments back and front. I can argue both of them. And it goes without saying that we're in the land of completely subjective now, if we weren't already. So don't act like I'm making literal value judgments here. I'm presenting the arguments that are made. What is the case that Team Black Leather argues? Black leather is cool. It just can't be denied that all else being equal, let's say you're in blue jeans, white sneakers, white shirt, like classic starter kit that works with either jacket. If you go with black, you will be considered cooler. It's just science. And cool means understated and quietly confident, which are qualities that men tend to really like in both their character and their apparel. And I think it's really cool when your clothes kind of reflect your values and preferences and identity and stuff like that, right? Especially when it's a pricier piece. I could even argue, if I wanted, the black leather jacket, in addition to being cooler, is edgy but not aggressive. Again, a desirable balance for a man to hit. Other styles like Schott's Perfecto jacket, that's more in the aggressive, edgy direction. But again, we're going with this, the most versatile leather jacket, which is not the Perfecto. The black leather jacket is more modern and more urban. When I go down to Soho here in New York City, I see way more black than brown leather jackets, and as far as leather and everything else. On a similar note, black leather jackets work better with modern casual streetwear. Like I'd much sooner wear a hoodie under a black leather jacket. And in other words, it's more youthful. In other words, this jacket, you look more like you're from the 21st century. There's a solid chance, like I said, that it already just works better with your wardrobe right now, while at the same time, it brings to mind the coolest characters of the last century too. It makes you think of Elvis and Marlon Brando and the Terminator and Rocky and rockers and bikers and greasers. How could you want anything else? How could you want anything not a black leather jacket? Indiana Jones, Captain America, Steve McQueen. Above all, our nation's fighting men and women who wore dozens of kinds of brown leather jackets in the world wars. They're not cool to you, huh? Well, I mean, they're not cool exactly in that, rebellious greaser way, but they're, what's the word I would associate more with them? They're heroic, bold, adventurous, superhuman even, literally in the case of Captain America. That's the kind of jacket I want to wear. Maybe it's less edgy. That also means there's a lower chance of someone thinking you're not cool enough for your black leather jacket, if you're the neurotic type. Brown is also warmer, like it's the warmer color, but in other ways too, it's warmer. It's considered a softer color, it's more relaxed, less hard-edged, and therefore more versatile. That's a big one. It's versatile in that it works more easily with more colors, and also in that it works more easily in more situations. It has a more everyman feel, but it also has a sense of adventure about it. We don't have to be embarrassed to say it makes us think of Indiana Jones and fighter pilots. Like it does, and they're awesome. They're heroes. And if you like boots or flannel or just menswear that's more classic Americana, brown just looks best with those. Just as black is maybe better with youthful modern streetwear, you can say brown is more classic. And this is a big one. If you're saying black is more youthful, you're saying brown is more mature. Or at least that it's more easily worn by more age groups. Again, I'm saying it's more versatile, right? And it's certainly less controversial to wear after middle age as well. I'm not saying you shouldn't wear a black leather jacket after 40. I'm just saying there's controversy around doing that. There are other people who have argued that you shouldn't. And I think black is more casual too, weirdly. You might disagree, and that's fine, but while it's fun to do a sort of very modern, edgy, dressy look with a black leather jacket, like this one with the black turtleneck and wool trousers, when it comes to more classic, widespread, long-standing, smart, casual apparel, like an Oxford cloth button-down or chinos, I much prefer wearing that, or honestly, any button-up shirt with the brown jacket. And while probably all of that is obviously subjective, brown does objectively age in a more interesting way. An old brown leather jacket develops way more color variation and patina than an old black jacket. Because brown is an actual color, which is probably another thing, maybe the main thing that should come into consideration. That's actually the whole video. That's brown versus black. If I made so many great arguments that I made it even harder to pick one than it was before, then I guess I did my job, because I wanted to give the pros and cons of each and say, there is no objective answer. But I guess the closest thing to an objective answer is just where we started. What are most of the non-blue and white colors in your wardrobe? Warm or cool? And for what it's worth regarding the age thing, I am starting to wear brown leather jackets a lot more than black leather jackets. I bought the black one in my 20s. In my 30s, I don't know, the brown one feels a bit more natural. That might be because I'm getting older, or maybe it's just because I own more colors now. And I also hope that some of these outfits I've been showing you might have helped you decide what you think would look best on you. Subscribe to Stridewise, this YouTube channel, for more stuff on casual, durable menswear, and I'm gonna do one on different types of leather jackets coming up as well. So, you gotta stick around for that.